What's up, everybody? Today I'm joined with Andy. What's going on, Andy?
Hello. What's up, guys?
Hey, so we're going to be talking a couple things today. We're going to be doing some Tennessee baseball review. Um, what a season, guys! It's been amazing, and some implications going forward into the college baseball World Series. Next, we'll talk NBA. We're in the finals now. Boston versus Mavs. Then we'll continue our series about predicting records in the SEC. So today's two teams are Auburn and Florida. We're going alphabetical, so save the best teams for last, I guess. And then we're going to be continuing our list series and just talking about some of our favorite and least favorite college football players. But starting off, let's go to Tennessee baseball. It seems like we just keep crushing everybody in front of us. Um, did you get to watch the game, Andy?
Yeah, I caught the game yesterday. I gotta say the ninth inning, very very dramatic. Like we're up five, and then the bases get loaded. So anyone's game really. Like grand slam and you're boom only down by one. Even if even if there's like just like a double single with the two RBIs or like a double with the all runners coming home, all of a sudden you'd be only down by two with another runner in scoring position with zero outs. So, very tense game. And then ends up with the three strikeouts on a breaking ball. I mean, it's just, classic. It looks like some kind of like a baseball movie type of situations. I thought that was very cool, very intense. You could hear the crowd just roaring, and I finally broke the jinx. That was the first Tennessee baseball postseason game that I've watched that they won. I was running pretty bad, so I was worried. I tuned in at like I think it was like the bottom of the sixth or seventh, and then they hit a 2-run home run. So I was like, okay, like maybe I'm finally breaking the jinx. And then all of a sudden, we go to the top of the ninth, and then the bases get loaded, and I was a little scared. So we're officially done with the streak. Now the player run's about to start, and hopefully, if we've learned anything from the table of Bach, is that we can maybe expect just as many wins now, since I broke the streak. So potentially, we could win as many as 4 more games. So let's see how that goes.
Water finds its level, so
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
you're doing, I guess.
Can't guarantee anything after that, but at least I can tell you that it might happen.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think you brought up some good points about how tense the game was. Like we had a substantial lead throughout most of the game, except for the first or second inning. What did you think about the quick decision to replace Stamos as pitcher? Like it seems like Tony V has been doing that recently. I think we talked about it with Josh a couple times, but
Hmm.
seems like impressive to always make these calls to bring in relief pitchers like AJ Causey.
Yeah, I mean, the he was pulled in like the after the second inning or in the middle of the second inning, right? So that's a quick hook, and you kind of wonder like you always have to like sort of worry about these things too, because like now, like what if we were to lose that game and then and potentially have to go down 0-1, and then you're faced with the elimination game, both rest of the series and then potentially the games after. So like these decisions to just pull the starters, like it's not something that a coach would be doing lightly, right? I mean, if it worked out, and glad it worked out. If it didn't, then now you not only wasted the starter, because it's not like just because starter drew for like an inning and a half, you can just make him start again tomorrow. Like he has a routine and everything, right? So and then you brought in the relief pitchers, Kazi, Cornell, Combs, like they both drew a good amount of balls. So a gutsy decision, especially in the in the second. But I feel like again, like I like when coaches try to do something, and I think we talked about this during basketball season heavily, how like Rick Barnes sort of thinks he's like Phil Jackson, like it's kind of like sit there like this and or hands in the pocket, or even the Lakers coach, same shit. And obviously like with the veterans, professionals, maybe it works, but I do like for college, like making a quick decision to just kind of like bring in just change something. And then again, like baseball is game of runs, game of momentum, more so than potentially any other sports, because there's no clock, right? It's by the outs. So getting the outs is important. And some innings are gonna be quick, some innings are gonna be like 30 minutes long, and those types of decisions are I appreciate it personally. It's just my type of the coaching style, and I'm glad to see it paid off.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about this too, because I think it's a unique thing to college baseball. Like, I'll be honest, guys, this is my first season watching college baseball. So I'm kind of getting used to it. But the concept of the three game series just makes this type of move like even more viable, right?
Yeah.
Because tomorrow there's only really guarantee of playing 2 games. So if you're down 0-2 in the first game, you're really down. I would say that's like being down, I don't know, down 7 at the first half of an NCAA tournament game. So
right.
I'm just like, wow, you kind of have to do these kind of things, and it was impressive to see. Yeah, it seems like a bias for action from our coach, and I appreciate that too. I'm that kind of person too. Like, making mistakes is inevitable part of life, but making quick decisions is something I respect.
Yeah, you don't wanna sit there with what if.
Yeah.
What if what if I pulled him earlier? What if I put our reliefs in earlier, and try to change the momentum again. Like there's a reason why these like relief pitchers. There's a lot of like sayings in baseball, right? Like if you're like a batter, try that, like the first ball that comes, the first pitch they throw, it's like a sort of like it sets the tone. Oftentimes the relief pitchers always try with a strike, just to like, hey man, I've arrived. This is how I'm gonna take this. So again, like I really like it, and it also sends a message to the rest of the team, like, hey, the coach is taking this serious. Like he's thinking this is like do or die game, and it is. It's a playoff game, and 3-game series. So, and then they rallied after that, right? Like stop the bleeding, and then you're down 2-1 the next inning. They respond by scoring 3.
Yeah, so I want to shout out some of the bats. We had Hunter Ensley seems to be crushing the baseball right now. He had 3 hits and 4 RBIs. He kind of had the game-sealing home run with that home run in the 7th. We extended the lead from 3 to 6 there. Our core players also crushing. Christian Moore, Blake Burke, and Billy Amick just smacking the ball. I found out there's a little piece of history here. The Vols have now hit 163 homers as a team this season. That's second in NCAA Division I history between 1997 LSU's teams 188. So, historic smacking around of the baseball. Always great to see. Hope it continues into the next couple games. And yeah, with that, I want to look into the next couple games, assuming that we advance versus Evansville. What other teams out there pose a threat? So this is a bit of the bracket. Let me just make it a little bit bigger for our audience. Tennessee is obviously facing up at Evansville. We have UConn versus Florida State. I don't know. I didn't watch this game, but it was
box score looks nasty.
demolition derby of UConn. Really crazy, 24-4. That seems like a dangerous team. Obviously, like we're coming into this as the number 1 seed. we can assume that we're at the level of pretty much all of these teams, but
Right.
just like you said, baseball's a games of runs, and you don't want to play the wrong team at the wrong time.
Yep.
So that seems like a cause for concern there. Um, moving on to the other half of our side of the bracket, Kansas State versus Virginia. It seems like Virginia might advance there. That's a team I would be worried about.
Hmm.
Seems like they have very solid pitching and hitting as
Right.
well. I think we got North Carolina and West Virginia also to round out this side. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never watched either of these teams. I don't know if you have, Andy.
I mean, I caught the some parts of the game yesterday just because it was on late.
Okay.
I mean, but I don't want to give like an analysis on like a team that I've only watched once. But North Carolina looks very solid. I thought the pitching looked okay. I mean, like not like great, but solid.
Mhm. Okay. So on the other side, I'll just go down to the bottom. We got some familiar opponents here in Texas A&M and in Florida, Clemson, and Oregon. Um, I think that of all the teams left, other than Florida State, I probably think Texas A&M is the best team remaining, other than Tennessee.
Hmm.
So I don't know that we'll have as much of a test until we get into Omaha finals.
Hmm.
If we beat Florida State,
Right.
so this would be my pick to get out of this half of the bracket.
Yep.
And of course, we have uh,
The Wildcats.
the Wildcats, Oregon State, NC State, and Georgia. These teams are all kicking off today.
Yep.
I think so. I mean, we played Kentucky multiple times. We've also played, I believe we played Georgia.
Yep.
So I think like just going forward, Georgia probably has one of the top three players in the country in Charlie Congdon. Kentucky, we won our series with Kentucky, but on any given day, it's tough to make a call into these teams' futures. But I guess that's why we play series, right, Andy? Like,
Yeah.
uh,
It is wild though that it's like a two out of three. That's
yeah,
like hardly a series in baseball. Like,
yeah, yeah. I was just surprised that that's how they do this. And then the is the finals a series too? Like the Omaha?
College World Series.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah. Best of
see,
three. Best of three.
best of three.
Best of three. Okay. Yeah. So best of three MCUWS final. So yeah. So the best of three goes all the way there. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. I mean, much like in most of the other sports now, like we seem to be sniffing playoffs pretty regularly. And I just want to say that doesn't mean that much for your regular season if you don't have a commensurate or equivalent postseason. I think we're heading into the zone that baseball, football, basketball, we're among the top 20, top 25 teams pretty consistently. So
Right.
now we
Right.
got to get to the next level of expecting
Yeah.
championship.
Yeah. Gotta get over the hump.
Yep. It only takes one to start a new trend, guys. So that's just want to put that out there. All right. I think we will be moving on now to NBA playoffs. Andy, what are your thoughts looking at the first game?
So I my money was on the Celtics. I've looked at some trends and and I know Celtics have been pretty weak at home generally speaking through like in the last couple of years. But Mavs also game one horrendous. I actually looked at this. I think the if I remember correctly, like Mavs with Luka last like 3 years is like, well, last year they didn't make the playoffs, and then the year before they made a conference finals and so on. So last three or 4 years in Luka's playoff career, I think the Mavs are like 1-8. For whatever reason, the role players never show up and all that, blah blah blah. Is that is that like significant? I don't know, but I just figured also like there's a lot of pressure probably on Kyrie returning to Boston. You guys remember when Kyrie returned to Boston? I think for the not the first time, but like I want to say like second or third time, he like stepped on the Leprechaun logo, and then since then he's not won a game there. I think he's like 0-10. So so that was, I thought that was interesting. That continued, and obviously he also like stunk it up. Like he looked like an injured Russell Westbrook out there. It was bad. Like he just like nothing's going in. He's missing layups. He's dribbling the ball and kicking it off his foot. I mean, it was a total disaster. But does that mean the Celtics are gonna win it all? I don't think so. I mean, like I think you guys seen this Mavs team. Last series versus the Timberwolves, they pulled the opposite, but the first 2 rounds they given up the game one, rebound strong, take game two, and then and then go home, defend the home court, and then ended in game six for both the first and second rounds. I think I'm hoping, obviously as a as a Laker fan, and I like the players that the Mavs team have way more than the Celtics. The only person on the Celtics that I really want to see win a ring is Holiday, but he already won a ring. So like, sorry, Drew. Fuck yourself. Let's go Mavs.
Okay, yeah. Like I think my thoughts were you didn't really see like a massive offensive performance from anyone on Celtics, but it was more of a defensive masterclass paired with some pretty bad performance by Kyrie and other players on the Mavs, not named Luka Doncic. I think we can get into some of the box scores here, and I have one point that I do want to show out for the box score for the Mavs. One column definitely definitely is really showing out to me, and that's the assist column. Luka Doncic, 1 assist. Kyrie Irving, 2 assists. And in total, the whole team had 9 assists. When you compare that to 23 for the Celtics. Again, like if you look at these numbers, like 22 for Jaylen Brown, 20 for Porzingis, 16 for Tatum, that's all. I mean, those are mostly under averages, except for Porzingis.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a clear indication to me that the ball was moving around.
Right.
They couldn't really stop any one player here, but they did have the ability to really clog up lanes and not get anybody easy shots on the Mavs. I think that was the biggest thing for me watching this. Second thing is obviously Kyrie's kind of bad shooting night, over 5 from 3, 31% overall. Luka did get his 30 points, but on 26 shots and a bunch of free throws. He actually missed 3 free throws too. So he was like having a very tough time, still producing, but still very tough time.
7 turnovers between Kyrie and Luka. I mean, that's really bad. And 3 assists. That's terrible.
Right. So that assist to turnover ratio is not good. Whenever you have a 0.5 assist to turnover ratio.
Yeah, that's a peak Westbrook right there.
You got to question what's going on. And also, like, I think this is the biggest transition from that for them coming from Minnesota to playing the Celtics. There's only 2 guys that can guard Kyrie and Luka on the Minnesota, and I would say those are Jaden McDaniels and Anthony Edwards. Jaden McDaniels, I would say, did a pretty good job. Anthony Edwards kind of underperformed defensively, but
Right.
there are four
Yeah,
players
4 guys.
here
Yep.
that can play wing players and strong guards on defense. Drew Holiday, Derek White, very good. Drew Holiday, probably best perimeter defender in the NBA.
Mhm.
Derek White, also pretty good at defending the ball.
Yeah, solid 3 and D.
Solid 3 and D. Jaylen Brown and Tatum. So
They got the
you got
length.
so in their eight-man rotation, they can kind of outnumber what Dallas can do from a personnel perspective. And then everybody on this team that actually plays, the four we mentioned, Horford, Porzingis, Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, they can all shoot threes as well. Like we didn't see it from Peyton Pritchard, but pretty much everybody else
Right.
is just cashing threes, 2 threes, 3 threes, either 2 or 3 threes. So I think when you get this kind of 3-point shooting plus defense, it's going to be very hard for Mavs to win. But we have seen this from Mavs. Like they can completely shoot the bed in game 1, and that doesn't really mean anything. I almost feel like Jason Kidd like kind of does this on purpose. Not that he
It's
has
like the Cleveland or Miami LeBron. Almost the Lakers LeBron. Like game 1's a fill out game. Like you gotta see what they throw at you. And then again, like that is okay for a 7-game series. you can't do that in a 3-game series, but in a 7-game series, okay, whatever. Especially if you're the underdog, you just kind of see what the what kind of scheme, the defensive scheme they're gonna throw at you. You check out their rotation. You see the offensive sets they're gonna run. Are they gonna run? Are they gonna spam the Tatum pick and roll? Are they gonna try to get Porzingis as the wild card? Are they gonna try to rely on the Derek White and Drew Holiday cutting across and then running the horn set for the 3-point? Like so I'm sure Jason Kidd's got all of those. Like I used to be not so high on Jason Kidd as a coach, like the first 2 stints with the Bucks and the Nets, but since then he was the assistant coach for the Lakers, and then now with the Mavs. I mean, it looks like he's finally finding his groove as a coach. I mean, so we'll see. I do expect the Mavs to come back and win game 2, or I guess I should say I'm hoping that they do.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough for them if they don't win game 2. I don't have the stats like readily available. What happens if you go down 0-2? How likely are you to win? But I would imagine that it's like maybe like puts you at a like 20% or less chance to win the series. So I would say that
in the playoffs overall, not just finals, but like playoffs total, way less than that actually. How many teams have won their series after having a 2-0 lead? Is 93% out of 458 playoff series. So pretty good sample size. It's only like 7% chance. I mean, also it's not a causation, because typically if the team is up 2-0, that means the favorite is up 2-0 and is expected. Right. How many teams have won after going up 2-0 in the NBA Finals is 87%. So I think 93 versus 87, 7 versus 14%, almost doubles. And I guess you can argue that happens because the teams that make NBA Finals are
better teams.
Maybe not exactly equal, but they're at least proven like good enough teams. Whereas the first stat basically includes all the first round matchups where teams like the Nuggets sweeping the Lakers last year, or things like the LeBron Cavs or LeBron Heat sweeping these garbage Eastern Conference teams, Celtics sweeping things like that. So
yeah, I mean, main thing for Mavs is you took your rest break, you did the Floyd Mayweather in the first 6 rounds, like just like stand there, kind of lose a little bit, see what's coming from the opponent, but now is the opportunity. Can't wait anymore.
Yep.
So Okay, so that's good analysis of game one here. We'll be tweeting after game two. Hopefully, Mavs get back into it.
Yeah, let's see. So while we're there, I would say I'm gonna go ahead and pick that the Mavs cover the spread officially.
Okay.
7+7.5. That's a guarantee.
Okay, it's an Andy guarantee. Oh, also shout out TNT, man. That was their last broadcast. Like, it's now official that NBA is going to NBC, Amazon,
Oh, but
and
isn't that after next season? They still got one more season.
oh, really? Okay,
Yeah. It
gotcha,
wasn't the last ever.
gotcha. Okay, yeah. So the way that we watch NBA will be different going forward. Great crew out
Cool.
there. So
Yeah, and apparently there's some buzz that TNT remains in talks for negotiations. So
okay.
not much there. It's just all speculations that Adam Silver is still kind of working things out with TNT, negotiating. But we'll see how that comes out.
True.
Before we transition to another topic, also the one, I guess, other hot sort of a topic with with the NBA and the basketball side is the coach from the back-to-back defending champion UConn is in LA listening to the pitch from the Lakers. So now let's see, if you are Dan Hurley, who just went back-to-back in March Madness, would you accept the head coaching job of the Los Angeles Lakers?
Okay. I think Lakers are a dangerous team to go to because
So much media
yeah,
scrutiny. You have
media
LeBron on the
scrutiny.
team.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem is having LeBron on the team.
Mhm.
Because you're never really in control.
You
If I
never get
were
any credit if you win. They're just gonna say, "Oh, it's LeBron."
exactly. And this is a guy I actually know a decent amount about Dan Hurley. He is like, he came from basketball family. His dad's a coach in high
Mhm.
school basketball in New Jersey, very famous here. So he is a very, very um almost like military style coach. He's like, like drill sergeant, basically. He's like, he has certain standards. He's Pat Riley-esque in the sense that, it's all about the team. It's not really about individual stars. Um, he does a lot of screaming and yelling, and I don't know if that works in the NBA anymore.
Right,
Uh,
right.
so it's not like a situation where the guy's like very, very into managing personalities on his team. And you'll notice like um UConn, like they don't have top 5 draft picks or top 10 draft picks. He kind of whips into shape a group of transfers, a group of um basically first and second round NBA players and not lottery picks into a championship winning team. So that's going to be a different approach for him. What I would do is like ask for a ridiculous amount of money. Like I would ask for 15 million plus. He's only going to make like 6 or 7 in UConn,
Mhm.
and that's not really. That's now moving on to the flip side, right?
Yeah. So
He's not going
he
to.
currently has a 6-year, 32 million contract. So like 6 million per year, five and a half roughly.
Yeah. So
Uh, and then the buzz is that Lakers might draw a long-term contract at 100 mil,
right.
like
So
six-year, 100 mil, basically quadrupling his contract. Because they
yeah.
also understand like this guy has a pretty cush gig right now. Like there's no pressure for him anymore on the job because he's taken, what was it, Rhode Island to March Madness before. He got UConn job and then won titles now. Like you said, it's not I mean, UConn is like one of those new blue blood schools. I would say it's not like a quiet UCLA or UNC, Kansas, Duke, but it's one of those respected, new blood program. But like you said, they don't get the Rob Dillingham's, walking through that door. So, even if he like didn't win a championship for the next 5 years, like, are people gonna be like screaming to fire him? Probably not. So he has a nice coach gig. So I think they understand to lure this guy, you have to basically throw money at him, show the glamour and say, hey, look, a job like Lakers coaching job doesn't open up. And arguably, if you think about, whoever, even if LeBron wasn't there, I would say, from like a prestige perspective, right? It's like getting the coaching offer at like Real Madrid or United or something like that. So,
yeah, I mean, I think the final thing I would say about it is Lakers and Dan Hurley know that he is drastically underpaid.
mhm.
Like 5-6 million is not enough for him. If you've gone back to back, that's crazy. Like Coach Cal makes like 10, 11. That's ridiculous, right? Like you make half as much of a guy that got beat by Northern Kentucky. That's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Hurley makes same money as Rick Barnes. I mean, and not to say Rick Barnes doesn't deserve it. He's a hell of a coach, but for somebody who just went back to back, I feel like the money should be a little bit higher.
Yeah, so that's the biggest chip that they can throw. But if I'm Dan Hurley, it's just too much of a disaster with all the external factors outside of basketball.
But here's a fun thing, right? It's like he could just be like Nick Saban, sorta. Just go. If it doesn't work, or Rick Pitino. Well, Pitino is maybe a bad example, but hey, go try it. If it doesn't work out,
Broadcasting.
not even like you can always just come back to college ball. Maybe the UConn job isn't open when he does try to come back, but there will be college programs out there that'll throw money at this guy, even if he fails at the NBA level.
Yeah, and I think like closer to Nick Saban in that respect, like it's changing for him. NIL is changing, right? He can't offer the Arkansas money. He can't even offer the Tennessee money, most likely. So that's a big part of it too. It's not just about recruiting and coaching hard. It's more about every time you go to a kid's house, it's finance pitch. It's like, okay, this is this is how much we're going to pay you. You have to do these deals, and then I'll see you twice a week for practice.
Exactly.
So it's like it's not as straightforward as what it used to be. Okay, so let's go back to our series on predicting the records. I think let's start with Auburn and Florida today. Auburn starts off at Alabama A&M. By the way, shout out to Auburn. I like their website here. They do a little countdown. They do a text form of their schedule here. So if you want to look like
oh, nice
clinic script, they offer that to you for you tech guys watching. You might appreciate this.
Yeah. Like if you want to just a link that you can just extract the data from without worrying about all this shit, the links. Yeah, that's nice.
I appreciate that. That's a little bit, I guess, maybe geeky for our audience, but
that's the Asian tech geekiness that only a few might appreciate.
But yeah, it's still there. They start off against Alabama A&M. This is going to be one of those spreads that only appear like 1 hour before the game. I'm guessing
31.5.
Yeah, maybe even 35.5 or something like that. Starting off against Alabama A&M. They're telling you to wear orange during this game. That's also pretty cool. Like they put their colors they want you to wear.
Right.
So pretty interesting. I believe Alabama and I don't know anything about them, but let's say 35.5, and I'll put a dub in for Auburn here to start off at home.
Bold prediction there, Cotton.
Yep. I think Auburn, they really have their tests maybe after week 4 and 5. So this will be like kind of a must win for Auburn. This is again at home. They're telling you to wear white. Versus Cal. Cal is one of those teams that they shouldn't be good, but they somehow stay inside games. I probably would put this maybe as a 10.5 to 14-point spread. Again, Auburn is at home on ESPN2 here. This is a 2:30 game, so Cal's going to be having to come west to east here. Any thoughts about what might happen in this game, Andy?
Yeah, I would think. I think Auburn pulls it off, but I would agree with you. Spread is probably like a -11 type of shit, and Cal probably covers it.
Cool. All right. So again, we're starting it off. Auburn plays 5 games in a row at home. So this is really where they have to get their wins. Again, New Mexico, don't know much. I'm going to assume they're bad. So let's say, if Cal's 10.5, New Mexico is maybe 17.5 to 21.
Could be worse.
Could be worse. You're wearing Navy. This is also homecoming game. So, I mean, usually these teams play pretty hard and, go hard for homecoming. And they should win this game as well. So Auburn comes out, starts 3-0 to start the season. And they're probably, I would say, 2-1 against the spread at this point. All right. Now getting to, darker waters here, deeper waters. They face against Arkansas. I don't know what a power stripe is. This is September 21st. Again at home. I'm going to assume that this might be a noon game or a 7 p.m. game for the week. And any thoughts on what the spread might be here? I don't necessarily know as much about the Arkansas quarterback, but let me look that up if you have any thoughts.
Well, Arkansas is losing what's his name, KJ Jefferson, right? So probably not gonna be good. I would think this is a 2 to 3 score game for in Auburn's favor.
Okay, yeah. So it seems like Arkansas QB. It's either going to be KJ Jackson or Quentin Murphy, who are both freshmen and they're four-star. Or
another quarterback named KJ.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And then they have a transfer from Boise State, and they think he's going to be the front runner there. 24. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be Peyton Thorne for Auburn. Auburn is not a good passing team. So a little bit about Auburn's QB. He transferred from Michigan State. He threw for under 100 yards 5 times, and he cracked 200 yards only twice. So this is this is going to be a situation where they're going to have to run the ball a decent amount. So I think that, that does decently well in college football unless you're down by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually think Arkansas can pull out a victory here, and Auburn will be 3-1 entering their toughest part of the schedule.
Okay.
So I think Oklahoma and Auburn here, I believe that this Oklahoma should smash in this point of the game. This will be when is Tennessee playing in Oklahoma, Andy?
Week before.
Okay, so
Oklahoma players are gonna be banged up pretty roughly.
Okay, so assuming Oklahoma loses to Tennessee, man, I think you have to win this game. And I do see Oklahoma doing that if they, if Brent Venables wants to keep his job.
Yep.
So I would say that, in this situation, Oklahoma at Auburn, tough place to play. So let's say
Mhm.
Let's say Oklahoma minus 7.5 to 10.
Ooh, I don't know if you're gonna get 7.5 to 10 at Auburn coming in.
Okay.
Like
So what
Auburn is one of those teams at home. They routinely play like Georgia, Alabama close, pull out a lot of like miraculous comebacks. Like it's a tough place. I haven't been there yet. We got to make our way there one day. All that being said, I thought about this for Oklahoma as well. I think Oklahoma playing Tennessee and Auburn back to back.
Yeah.
They probably don't win both, right? Like
Yeah.
you'd have to assume it's got to be 1-1. So if Tennessee beats Oklahoma, I would expect that Oklahoma comes here and lays it down. But if Oklahoma wins at home coming into this, I think it's gonna be you're gonna see the Uno card reverse and get smacked. So just depends on what Tennessee does, and obviously as a homer here, assuming that Tennessee smacks Oklahoma, then I think Oklahoma comes in here and lays it down. But I don't think spread's gonna be anywhere near a touchdown. I think it's gonna be like one of those trappy like minus 1.5 to like 2.5 type of fishnet.
Gotcha. Okay. So now they play against Georgia October 5th
At Georgia.
at Georgia.
Brutal stretch. Back to back playing 3 SEC opponents.
Yeah. Yep. And I think, Georgia should have an elite team. I know they have Carson Beck returning. They lost a bunch of NFL talent, but they always
also get always all the NFL talents back. So
yeah. So I think this is gonna be Georgia pretty handedly.
yeah, like
You're right, Andy.
17.5.
Yeah, they do stay in these games pretty well. I think the line is anywhere from 17.5 to 21.
Mhm.
If it's closer to 21, I'd say take the Auburn plus, but you're just going to be hoping for some kind of backdoor. Maybe stay away from this game. I don't know.
Yeah, this is also like a rivalry game, but again, like I said, Auburn at home against these teams, they always stand their ground, but away game, you just never know.
Yeah, you never know. Okay. So things don't get that much easier. They go to Missouri. I guess that's the bad thing about playing 5 games in a row at the home. Like you do have five games in a row away coming up next.
Right.
Missouri, I don't know how good they'll be. Like if you watch the pundits, they're saying, okay, Missouri's going to be, at Tennessee's level or better.
Dude,
I don't know.
Missouri is. You remember when Michigan State had KW Kenneth Walker?
Yeah,
and he basically carried them to like 11 wins, beating Michigan and everything. And then when he left, it's just garbage.
Yeah.
I think this is the exact same situation here. The running back was carrying the team. He's gone. They're gonna suck.
Okay. All right, that's fair. Also don't like the coach there at Missouri. So all right, maybe we got an upset here.
Dickowitz.
Yeah, Drinkwitz. So I think
Drinkowitz, sorry.
yeah, so maybe we get in terms of a line, Missouri -7.
Oh, I don't think Missouri would be a favorite by then.
You don't think so?
I mean, like, let's look at their schedule real quick.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I know they're like ranked high on the preseason shit, but like, that's only gonna depend on what their schedule looks like. Okay, Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, Vandy, A&M, UMass. Oh, actually, you know what? You're right. They don't play anybody.
Yeah, so this is their
trap game or Missouri might come in here undefeated at home.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like Missouri would come in at least 7.5, and I would smash the Auburn ML here.
Auburn ML right there. That's a no-brainer. War Eagle. All right.
So we get Kentucky.
Also Battle of Tigers, right? Missouri Tigers and Auburn Tigers.
That is true, Andy. Kentucky. I'm gonna put
I
a number.
mean, Tiger versus a cat. I'm gonna give me Tiger all day, every day.
Give me the Tigers again. Vandy. That's a lock. That's
So
a
24 and a half probably type of spread.
don't even worry about that.
Nope.
Louisiana Monroe. By the way, by the time they're in Vandy, they're back at home for the rest of the season, except for Iron Bowl.
The Iron Bowl, right?
So they should be crushing ULM, and then
Mm-hmm.
A&M. This is a tough game. I don't know how. I think that maybe A&M catches them or stays close.
I mean, A&M in November is usually crumble, right? So I'm gonna take Auburn here.
Okay, and then we have Bama
Iron Bowl
in Tuscaloosa. So let's count out the record. So we have win. I don't know. Arkansas.
What was the split, right? You said Arkansas, I said Auburn.
So maybe 4-0 or 3-1.
So let's just say 5-1 or 4-2 until Georgia, right? Depending on. So 4.5 wins roughly. Let's just say 4.5.
Yeah.
And then go to Missouri 5.5, Kentucky 6.5, Vanderbilt 7.5, ULM 8.5, Texas A&M 9.5. So 9.5 roughly wins. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, I think we're way off compared to Vegas. I'm not sure exactly the total, but that's wild to me. And then they'll probably lose to Bama, but always cover the spread. So take Auburn spread there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Vegas line is I think 8, so we're like a game and a half more favorable, and I think that really just comes from the Missouri, which right now Vegas is giving it to Missouri, and then one of Oklahoma versus Arkansas, or Oklahoma or Arkansas, which I think Vegas is also giving to those teams, which we're saying there's a chance that Auburn takes one of those.
Yep. Okay, so not as bad as I thought.
It is really the Missouri overrated shit that's throwing off the monkey wrench.
Okay. I would say this might be the toughest schedule in all of college football.
There's no doubt. Like, it's not a might be. It's definitely is.
Okay, so they start off the season with a banger. They have Miami at home. Miami should be better than recent past. I think they might lose this game. This again is Florida. It is Florida at home versus Miami. Don't know what the spread would be, but potential to lose here.
Probably Miami 3.5.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And then Samford, that should be one of the few wins this year.
Yeah.
So what? We'll go 1-1 here. A&M in September 14th, again at home. Oh man, any thoughts?
I'm gonna give that to them, just knowing that that's when I've been to Florida in September twice. Big home field advantage, the swamp, humidity. That's alongside Samford. I think that's one of the few wins that I'm gonna give it to Florida.
Okay, so 2-1. These are not. This doesn't get really that much easier. They're going to Mississippi, Mississippi State. So I don't know. What are your thoughts here, Andy?
It's just that Florida is not a good team, so I'm gonna give it to Mississippi State. Okay, spread is probably like close to even to a field goal. Mississippi State.
Okay. Yeah, so Mississippi State's QBs are Chris Parson, Mike Wright, Blake Shapen.
They're over under for the wins total. Mississippi State and Florida, I think they're identical. Like they're both projected to win 5 games. So it's just a coin flip, and it just being in Mississippi State home game, I'm gonna lean that way.
Okay, so let's say 2-2. Okay, so we have UCF,
Oh,
right? We got UCF. This is again in
yep.
at home.
Give it to Florida,
Give it to Florida, and this is a
and
big
then
one.
just finish out the season with the straight L's. I don't see a single win here. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if anything was to be a win, maybe Kentucky at home.
Right,
But
right, right. But Kentucky's recently also had Florida's numbers.
yeah,
Like, you know,
yeah,
they got the reverse shit that we have with Florida.
right. They crush Florida. So yeah, so let's give it to Kentucky. Actually, that's a good
Yeah,
point.
because like Florida used to crush Kentucky like so many times in a row. That's was it like 17, 18 games
Yeah,
or something like that, or almost. And then last 5 to 10 years, it's just been all flip again. The water finds its level.
yeah. Yeah. Georgia loss
Yeah,
at
Te-
Texas loss.
loss.
Uh,
LSU loss.
LSU loss. Ole Miss,
Ole Miss loss.
Florida State,
Florida State. Big fat L.
big fat L. And oh, dude, wishful thinking for these guys. I want to bring this up. I like the mindset to put SEC championship in here. They're the I've done this now 4 times. They're the only team that puts SEC championship in there.
Hey,
I was
Gators. They have that in their DNA, right?
yes, I do respect the cockiness, but I think that's wishful thinking. You're probably looking at a 4-win team here.
Yep. Vegas has it at 5, so I think Vegas is probably thinking that they can beat probably other than the ones that we listed, maybe Mississippi State. That's really the coin flip, but yeah, everything else is I mean, and look at that bottom half of the schedule. So you start with UCF, Tennessee, Kentucky, and you get a bye week.
Yeah.
And then you go Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida. Like that is a brutal. That might be the hardest schedule. Like I don't know
I don't
many
know if
teams in
that's
the country that
yeah.
could escape this schedule from Tennessee to Florida State. So that's 7 games. Like
Yeah.
any team in the country, you let them go through this schedule. I don't see any team that comes out undefeated, like
Oh yeah.
zero.
Yeah. That's crazy. I
Maybe
think
like
that is the most
few of them might get like a one loss, and
yeah. I think this is the most difficult schedule I've ever seen in my life.
yeah.
So
Like you have Georgia, you have Texas, you have LSU, Ole Miss, like and Tennessee, like all,
oh,
literally all of the New Year's Bowl, New
mhm.
Year's Six Bowl participants, other than Kentucky.
Yeah. So that's a ridiculous schedule.
Yep.
Again, like 4-win team. So maybe take Auburn on the over and Florida on the under.
Florida on the under. Let's do it.
Okay. So one of our last topics of today's show, we're going to be going through some of our favorite and least favorite college football athletes. Let's start with favorite, Andy. Maybe name a couple. It doesn't have to be one if that's easier. If you don't have one singular guy, what are some of your favorites?
Let's say favorites. Reggie Bush.
Okay.
Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Let's switch gears. Let's go Tyler Hansbrough.
Okay.
And I'm obviously excluding all the Tennessee athletes. So
Okay.
just not to like list out my personal bias. Yeah, let's go with those 3.
Okay.
And for the reasoning being, Hansbrough, I feel like he's he's did really solid with the Carolina. Just staying the 4 years, cemented his legacy as a Tar Heel great. Joe Burrow, obviously, no explanation needed. And I like a little bit of a swag, as long as that person can back it up. And I feel like Joe had the right amount of cockiness, with the results backing up. And Reggie Bush, just for the electrifying performances that he put out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So some of my favorites start with football. I really like Johnny Manziel. I thought that he had electric season,
Yeah.
legendary partier. First person to like really blow up from college on social media too. So you see him out with Drake, you see him
Mhm.
everywhere.
Yeah. You guys seen the documentary, right?
Yep,
Crazy.
crazy. You got the scandal, you got beating Bama.
Yep.
All those things wrapped up into a pretty tight window of a package. And then now you have him come full circle, like talking about battling his demons in the past.
Right.
Really a
Right.
complete guy in terms of, man, that's someone that's lived a lot of life very hard.
Yeah.
So always respect to that. Basketball wise, I was a Rashard McCants guy. I love Rashard McCants. Didn't turn out in the NBA. Got drafted to the Wolves. I was like, oh shit, this is sick. Haven't really heard from him much till he started showing up in Gilbert Arenas' podcast. But yeah, that's some guy I always thought that was like really smooth playing basketball. It just when things like just look good, like Ken Griffey Jr.'s swing. It's
Right.
just
Right.
like,
It's like a Kyrie handle, like
yeah, it's like, wow,
some
that's so
aesthetics
smooth.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of aesthetics there. And I don't know, like I think like electric highlights also got to show some respect to Tavon Austin. I think that's one of the best highlight videos you can ever watch, Tavon Austin.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, as a fat, slow guy, seeing someone move so fast is like, wow, that's how the other side lives. So that's good to see. Again, another guy that never really got utilized as much in the NFL, but just incredible like track speed. What he does with the football is amazing. Let's move into least favorites, Andy. Who do you got?
Uh, Caleb Williams.
It's okay.
Uh,
What about him pisses you off?
uh, he's the. So I mentioned Joe Burrow, and I like Menzel too, and in the same vein, Baker. I feel like
Yeah.
those guys had the swag, backed it up, talked more shit, and backed it up. And Caleb Williams like doesn't have the same type of swag. Like he tries some shit, and it just doesn't like it's like at no point have I seen Caleb Williams press conference or on-field ceremonies and performances and think like, oh man, look at this guy fucking laying it down to the crowd, talking shit to the fans, like, oh, and also it just didn't back it up, right? Like, one of the weakest Heisman's that we've ever seen recently. Honestly, that Heisman should have, it could have went to Bryce Young. It could have went to C.J. Stroud. It could have went to like Hendon Hooker, but Young and Hooker getting injured in like game 10, game 11, and then Stroud looking to C.J. Stroud losing to Michigan basically would rob them of the chances, and then somehow, Caleb Williams comes out of nowhere and won Heisman, and and what did he do the following, right? Like it's just like paints "fuck Utah" on his nails and gets fucked again. Like what? Like if you're gonna do shit like that and post on social media, like back it up, right? Like you can't be like, oh yeah, fuck this team, and then proceed to go like 0-4 against that same team in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
So.
I'll also say that this is the first time I remember that comes to my mind of a player getting significantly worse and still going number one
Mhm.
overall. It just doesn't sit right with me. Like I would say his first year at USC or last year at Oklahoma, he was doing much better,
Yep.
and now regressed. And people are still like, it is the Bears, so you never know what's happening there in their minds. But that's one example that just rubs me the wrong way.
Right.
Um, he just doesn't look to make that good of a decisions. Obviously, the arm talent is there. That's why he's getting picked. But I don't like the way he thinks about football. And what I do watch a decent amount of Pac-12 because it's the last game out there. So he's on my screen a lot.
Yeah.
Saturday nights.
Right.
So I've seen him a decent amount of times. It's just like
like
not
just
impressive.
struggling against like Arizona. Like what?
Struggling against these guys that'll never make the NFL.
Yeah.
Just number one pick. Maybe too easy of a life there. For me, dude, I think it's one clear answer, and it's Grayson Allen, least favorite. I think he is probably the dirtiest player I've ever seen.
Right.
Talk about he had multiple incidents of tripping. Player, he is crafty. He seems to be like, I don't know. He's someone that gets under my skin. He really keep getting rewarded for it though. Like he's on the.
You could tell he just kind of had that privilege growing up, and because he was like a good athlete, like no one really like ever really said anything, and that really showed. Even under Coach K, arguably one of the most like strict / like disciplined coach, like he continues to do that shit because that's just how he's known all his life, right? Like, hey, like what are you gonna do? You're gonna bench me?
Yeah, I mean, I think he also just got a new deal from the Suns. Like he makes like $70 million now. So it's like,
well, I think he's gotten better in the NBA, and
yeah,
it's a two different story. But yeah, I'd agree with you. College, Grayson Allen easily. If he was as good, I think he would have gotten more hated than JJ Redick or Christian Leitner. But it's just that he wasn't as good as those guys. And then for anyone to hate someone, you have to be at least like good to great. Like you don't just go out there and randomly hate. Like Johnny Flynn or Rashard McCants. Like you have to be.
Yeah, you got to be on the screen a lot, which means you got to be playing a lot, which means you got to be pretty good. So
yep,
that would be like my number one most hated college athlete. I was thinking about throwing Joakim Noah in there, but you got to respect it. He just keeps winning,
right? Like he kept winning. Like my personal obviously feelings about playing Florida and whatnot. I gotta respect the hustle. He's a winner. He just keeps winning.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least he kept winning while he's playing in college. Ran it back, won it. Like mad respect.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our list there. The favorite and least favorite college athletes. If you're out there and you have your own, comment on our videos. Let us know who you
tweet at us.
Tweet at us. Well, maybe we'll run a poll or something in the near future to capture those ideas. Best bets. I think I don't have that many, but I would say tomorrow, just take Alcaraz ML. He's playing Zverev. This is again French Open singles. It's the line is -280. Alcaraz. I know that's a little pricey, but just lock it in. Zverev, notorious choker. I don't think that you'll see as much of a fight that he put in against Rude yesterday. And yeah, it's just a different level of tennis. I think Alcaraz and Sinner are on their own plane. Alcaraz maybe a little bit higher than Sinner in the level. And now that it's not versus one of those players, like not versus Sinner, not versus Djokovic, not versus Nadal, should be easy for Alcaraz.
Yeah, it's like when in like Wimbledon's or US Opens where like in the semifinals it's like Nadal Djokovic and then the winner goes to play Kevin Anderson. Like the hell, like it's same situation here. I do expect Alcaraz is gonna 3-1 probably is my guess. Zverev is serving. He's serving pretty well. His backhand is lethal right now. So I'm gonna give him one set, but ultimately he's gonna choke. Excuse me. I think he's gonna choke.
Okay. So yeah, an alternative way to bet that is Alcaraz set spread is -1.5, -150. So if you want to go with Andy's pick that it's going to be 3-1 or better, That's less expensive than
Yeah.
minus 280.
But sometimes you gotta pay to win. So if you wanna lock, and if you because when you bet that 1.5 half, what happens is, you know, for whatever reason, if the match goes to 5, then it's a slam dunk Alcaraz. Like you guys saw yesterday, you know how he came back and just locked the doors on Sinner. So that is why the money line is more expensive. So you know, if you're not as confident like me in Zverev's ability to choke, then Alcaraz ML is a good save. Pay to win.
Pay to win.
Pay per view. Pay to win.
Yeah, that's not a drastic overpay in my opinion. Like, you know, could easily be like minus 350, minus 400 here. So I like it.
Excuse me, I have some
and
allergy
also,
issues.
yeah, no problem, Andy. And also, like, this Zverev is playing like some of the best tennis I've seen him play. He's very strong. He seems to be recovering off the ankle injury that he had in 2022 versus Nadal. So, yeah, this is probably the best version of Zverev you're going to see.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
far. Do you have a best bet or?
Mavs.
Oh yeah, Mavs plus
7.5.
Okay, so 2 locks for you guys.
That Mavs minus 7.5, and that plus payout will be enough to buy the Alcaraz ML. That's how you.
True.
You know, that's how you balance. If you're scared to lay down the minus 280, just go the other way. Mavs 7.5. It should pay like plus 300 or something, and then boom, there you go.
Okay. Great show today, Andy. We talked a bunch about Tennessee baseball. We kind of dig deep into the NBA playoffs. We're continuing 2 of our series. We'll be doing these series pretty much right up until the college football season ends.
Yeah.
I know.
Wimbledon coming up. Olympics coming up.
Yep, a lot of stuff coming up. A lot of stuff for our other brands as well. We got Wimbledon, Olympics. We have the Euros in soccer. Never really put out my picks there for international soccer. So maybe we'll do that as well. Big win from Real Madrid. good vibes to set the week for us. So we hit that. We also hit. We went 4-0 in our UFC predictions. I know a lot of them were heavy favorites. So like nothing was under like minus 200.
Right.
4-0 is 4-0. So
really pay to win. Like I said, you gotta pay to win.
You can only bet the lines that are on your screen.
Yeah.
So So anyway, thanks for listening. We'll definitely be back next week for more action, more college talk.
To wrap up the show, Naveen, thoughts on Jeddah and the contract?
Yeah, I mean, Justin Jefferson, new contract out there. I think it is 4 years, 110.
Whew.
That's a lot of money. I think 100 of the 110 is guaranteed. But again, my problem is like, who's throwing him the ball, right? JJ McCarthy, I guess Sam Darnold. It's a bleak situation.
With these great receivers, sometimes you need a shitty quarterback.
Yeah,
like, you need to just force feed. Force feed that one receiver.
Yeah, if you want stats as a receiver, you need to be down.
Yeah, like you need like a Jameis Winston type of like, oh fuck it, Justin Jefferson's out there somewhere, just gun it. And also because these QBs, they lack the accuracy, they lack the decision making. They're not looking at all their routes. Their eyes are locked on their favorite targets, right? Like, and if you have JJ on one side of the field, so I don't doubt that he's gonna produce the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I just bleak outlook for Vikings, man. I think they'll be 3rd or 4th in the division. Basically, who's going to be worse, Bears or Vikings? The top of our division is very good. It's Packers and Lions.
Yeah.
It's a bleak scenario. But I mean, if anybody deserves it, it's him. Other than his injury this year, Really nothing negative you can say about the guy. Most productive wide receiver in his first 4 years.
No off-court scandals, good teammate, like
so some of the most amazing catches you'll ever see, like the one where versus Bills 4th and 19 or whatever. One-handed, two-handed, just it's one of those people you look at the screen in his first season and it's like, okay, he's faster and better than everybody else on the field. So definitely exciting for Vikings, but sad. Honestly, I feel bad for him because like who he play with, it's not good. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Great show, and thanks, Andy. See ya.
Knock it top out.